3 Stoic rules, so brutal. They'll reconstruct your mind, reinforce your body, and restore your heart. One day you wake up and realize you've become a stranger in your own life. Same face, the same routine, but a completely different soul. If that thought sends chills through your spine, keep listening. Your turning point begins now. Before we dive deeper, welcome to the Pure Stoic Practice channel, a place where we revive ancient wisdom and turn it into practical tools for modern strength and self-mastery. Hello everyone, thank you for being here. If you want to keep learning lessons that elevate your mind, sharpen your discipline, and help you grow every week, please follow the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our latest videos. And if this message resonates with you already, hit the subscribe button to support the channel. Your support gives us the motivation to continue making powerful and meaningful content. The silent crisis. When life becomes autopilot. Imagine this for a moment. You wake up one day and realize you've somehow become a spectator in your own life. Your mornings blur into your nights, your conversations sound rehearsed, and even your laughter feels borrowed. You look around and everything appears fine on the surface. Steady job, predictable routine, maybe even a family that depends on you. But somewhere deep inside, a quiet ache begins to pulse. It's the kind of ache that doesn't scream. It whispers. It whispers in the pauses between your thoughts, in the heaviness in your chest when you lie awake at night, in the subtle feeling that you've drifted far from the person you once dreamed you'd become. And the strangest part is you can't pinpoint this when the drift started. It's as if you fell asleep in your own life and woke up years later, hollowed out, but expected to keep performing. This is the silent crisis almost everyone faces, but almost no one speaks about. Not because it's rare, but because it's invisible. You can have everything the world counts as success and still feel like a ghost in your daily existence. If you've ever felt that way, or if you're feeling it right now, you are not lost. You're not broken. You're simply disconnected from the inner architecture that holds a human life together. The Stoics understood this long before the modern world drowned us in distraction. Marcus Aurelius, despite commanding an empire, had nights where he questioned his own purpose. Seneca, with more wealth than most could imagine, felt time slipping away faster than he could grasp it. And Epictetus, who started life as a slave, discovered that freedom begins inside long before it's earned outside, and their message echoes across thousands of years. When your life feels empty, the solution isn't out there. It's in here. In the mind that shapes your perception, the body that carries your actions, and the heart that gives your existence meaning. When any one of these breaks, the others begin to collapse. But when you rebuild them from the inside out, you can reclaim a life that feels like yours again. Now let's go deeper, because the truth deserves more than a surface glance. The silent collapse people experience doesn't begin with failure. It begins with drifting. It begins the moment you start living on autopilot, repeating the same thoughts, the same emotions, the same reaction, until the days start blending together into a loop of predictable monotony. The alarming part? You can drift for years without realizing it. You can laugh, socialize, work, build habits, and still be drifting. The outward motions stay the same, but the inner flame dims quietly. And the more it dims, the more you forget who you used to be when you were alive with possibility. That's why the beginning of any true transformation starts with confronting the mind, the place where meaning either grows or withers. What pulls people into this hollow state is not weakness. It's noise, endless noise. Noise from social media telling you who you should be, news cycles feeding your fear, comparisons convincing you that you're behind, expectations convincing you that rest must be earned. A mind constantly reacting becomes a mind that cannot think. A mind constantly absorbing becomes a mind that cannot create. And slowly, without intending it, you surrender the steering wheel of your own life. The Stoics warn against this because a mind without governance becomes a battlefield where you lose before the fight even begins. That's why the first step of rebuilding your life is reclaiming the sovereignty of your own thoughts. But reclaiming the mind isn't a surface-level practice. It requires depth. It requires honesty. It requires the courage to examine your internal landscape and confront what no longer serves you. You must detox from the mental garbage that blurs your direction. You must question the stories you've silently agreed to. Am I too late? Am I not enough? Am I defined by the past? These stories become invisible prisons, and the most dangerous prisons are always the ones you can't see. The more deeply you examine them, the more cracks you begin to see in their walls. That's when transformation becomes possible, when you stop accepting your fears as facts. But there's something even deeper than detoxing and rewriting old stories. Anchoring your purpose. This is where flow becomes direction. Many people think purpose is something grand, something you discover in a moment of revelation. But purpose isn't discovered. It's created. It's carved out through honest reflection, through small acts that align you with who you choose to become, through clarity about what actually matters. And clarity isn't passive. It's active. It's chosen. It's practiced. Purpose anchoring is where the mind begins to unify with the deeper currents of your life. When you know what you're moving toward, even pain becomes fuel. But purpose alone won't be enough without disciplined energy behind it. This is where daily rituals give your life momentum. This is where mental training sharpens your awareness. This is where consistency begins to rebuild your inner architecture. Without discipline, purpose fades into wishful thinking. Without structure, clarity dissolves into distraction. That's why disciplined energy matters. It transforms philosophy into practice. It turns intention into identity. It becomes the engine of your inner rebirth. What you're feeling right now, that quiet pull in your chest, that curiosity, that spark awakening, is the beginning of reclaiming your life. And if you stay with me until the end of this video, you will understand not just how to rebuild yourself, but how to rebuild yourself in a way that lasts, in a way that strengthens you from the inside out, in a way that reconnects you with the person you were always meant to become. Rule 1. Fix the mind. Reclaim your inner power. When the inner world begins to dull and the mind drifts into confusion, most people try to fix the symptoms instead of the source. They chase entertainment, distraction, new goals, new habits, new environments, anything that promises relief from the fog. But the Stoics knew that the root of almost every internal collapse begins in one place: the mind. The mind is the command center of every emotion, every action, every decision. every rise and every fall. And when it becomes cluttered, unfocused, or hijacked by noise, your entire life begins to operate on someone else's terms. Rebuilding yourself begins with reclaiming your mental sovereignty, the power that so many unknowingly surrender in the chaos of the modern world. What makes the mind so vulnerable today is not a lack of intelligence, but a lack of stillness. The constant bombardment of information, opinions, trends, comparisons, headlines, criticisms shapes your thoughts before you even realize you've absorbed them. You start thinking in borrowed beliefs, reacting instead of choosing, comparing instead of creating, scrolling instead of directing. Slowly, the inner voice that once guided your action grows quiet, replaced by external noise that dictates your priorities. And because this shift happens gradually, most people don't recognize how deeply it affects them. They feel overwhelmed, anxious, unfocused, uncertain, but they never trace the feeling back to the real cause. They've lost authorship over their own mind. To reclaim it, the first necessary act is mental detox, not as a trend, but as a disciplined cleansing of the thoughts you allow to shape your life. You cannot build clarity if your mind is filled with contradictions. You cannot cultivate strength if your mental inputs weaken you. You cannot expect focus if your attention is constantly scattered across meaningless noise. Mental detox means stepping back from the flood and choosing intentional input. Feed your mind with ideas that sharpen you, not dull you. Choose content that elevates your perspective, challenges your limitations, and teaches you how to navigate life with greater awareness. This process is not a luxury, it's a necessity. A mind left unattended becomes a battlefield where your fears overpower your potential. But a detox alone isn't enough. To truly rebuild the mind, you must reshape the way you define yourself. Most people try to change their habits without changing the identity that drives those habits. They say things like, I want to be disciplined, or I want to be confident, or I want to be stronger. But wanting is not transformation. The Stoics understood that lasting change comes from shifting your identity at its core. When you decide who you are becoming, truly, consciously, repeatedly, you begin to act in alignment with that identity. If you say, I'm trying to be disciplined, your mind hears effort and struggle. If you say, I am a disciplined person, your mind hears identity and direction. The difference is profound. Identity anchors behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. The cycle strengthens the mind's sense of purpose. Once you anchor your identity, you must confront the invisible barriers that stand between who you are and who you're becoming. These barriers are often disguised as logic, but are actually fear in camouflage. Thoughts like, I'm not ready, it's too late, I'm not capable, or people like me don't succeed, become self-fulfilling prophecies. The Stoics called the agreement with such thoughts assent. The moment you give fear permission to shape your reality. Every time you accepted a limiting belief, you reinforce the walls of a prison built by your own mind. To break free, you must expose these beliefs to the light. Write them down, examine them, challenge their truth, then rewrite them as declarations of power, not fantasy. Statements that shift your direction and expand your sense of possibility. When you reinterpret your beliefs, you reshape the mental landscape you navigate every day, but even this is only part of the work. A mind without discipline will always drift back into old patterns. That's why mental training must become a daily ritual, a practice of vigilance and self-awareness. Each morning, take a moment to observe your thoughts. Recognize which ones empower you and which ones drain you. Throughout the day, catch the thoughts that weaken your resolve and replace them with thoughts that sharpen your clarity. At night, reflect honestly. Did your mind serve you today, or did it sabotage you? Did your thoughts move you closer to the person you're becoming, or did they pull you back into the identity you're trying to outgrow? This isn't about forced positivity, it's about mental governance, the discipline of choosing which thoughts deserve authority over your life. Over time, this practice develops a profound sense of inner strength. You begin to notice that chaos no longer rattles you the way it used to. Distractions lose their grip. Negative comparisons fade. External noise becomes background static instead of a controlling force. The mind that was once scattered becomes sharp, observant, and grounded. You move through the world with a calm, focused presence that others feel even before you speak. And, most importantly, you begin to trust yourself again. Rebuilding the mind is not an intellectual exercise. It is an emotional, psychological, and spiritual awakening. It's the moment you reclaim authorship over your thoughts, identity, and direction. It's the moment you stop being a passenger in your own life and take back the steering wheel. When the mind becomes strong, everything else becomes possible. The fog lifts, the path becomes visible, and the person you are becoming finally begins to emerge, not as a distant dream, but as a living, breathing reality shaped by your own consciousness. Rule 2, fix the body. Build physical and emotional strength. Once the mind begins to regain clarity and direction, the next step in rebuilding yourself is learning to strengthen the vessel that carries your thoughts, emotions, and purpose, the body. Many people try to develop discipline in their minds while neglecting the physical foundation that sustains it. But without a resilient body, mental clarity becomes fragile, emotional balance becomes unstable, and purpose becomes harder to sustain. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that a person who wishes to think clearly must also live in a body capable of supporting that clarity. The body is not separate from the self. It is a direct expression of it. When you strengthen your body, you strengthen your will. When you train your body, you train your spirit. And when you reclaim your physical discipline, you reclaim power over every other part of your life. The first truth to face is that the body responds directly to what you feed it, just as the mind responds to the thoughts you allow inside. Every bite you take either nourishes your potential or burdens it. But nutrition is not about perfection, nor is it about restriction. It is about awareness. Before you eat, ask yourself whether this choice honors the identity you are building, not whether it follows a diet, not whether it makes you feel good in the moment, but whether it strengthens your commitment to who you are becoming. This shift, from eating out of impulse to eating out of intention, creates a powerful psychological transformation. It reminds you that you are not ruled by craving or convenience. You are ruled by choice. The simple act of choosing nourishing food becomes a message to your subconscious. I take my life seriously. I prepare my body for strength. I honor my future self. Equally essential is the recognition that sleep is not optional for a life of clarity. In a world that glorifies constant motion and productivity, Many people treat sleep as something to sacrifice rather than something to protect. But the Stoics saw rest as a sacred part of strength. A tired mind cannot think sharply. A tired heart cannot feel deeply. A tired body cannot stand firmly. Sleep is where the body repairs itself, where the mind resets, where emotions recalibrate, where resilience builds quietly in the background. When you choose to sleep well, you are not being lazy. You are preparing for victory. You are sharpening your sword for the battles of tomorrow. You are giving yourself the clarity and emotional steadiness needed to navigate life with purpose instead of survival. Guard your sleep with seriousness. Treat it as a ritual of self-respect. Then there is movement, the physical expression of vitality. The body is meant to move. When it remains still for too long, your emotions stagnate, your thoughts grow heavier, and your energy dimmed. Movement does far more than strengthen muscles. It awakens your spirit. When anxiety brews, a walk can soften its grip. When frustration rises, lifting something heavy can release its pressure. When clarity fades, movement can bring you back into your body and remind you that you are alive. You don't need expensive equipment or perfect routines. You only need consistency. Move every day, stretch, walk, run, lift, breathe deeply. Your body does not care about the style of movement. It cares about the act of reclaiming control. Every time you move, you send a message inward. I am still in command. I do not surrender to lethargy. I choose strength over stagnation. But perhaps the most transformative form of physical discipline is voluntary discomfort. Not the kind of suffering life imposes on you, but the kind you choose deliberately to remind yourself of your inner resilience. The Stoics practiced this often. They believed that to withstand hardship, one must befriend it. They slept on the ground, walked in the cold, fasted at times, trained in harsh conditions, not to punish themselves, but to build trust in their own strength. Modern life has softened us. Comfort is everywhere, convenience is constant, and the slightest friction feels unbearable. But your body becomes stronger through challenge, not through ease. When you choose discomfort, taking a cold shower, running when you don't feel like it, pushing yourself for 10 more minutes, resisting temptation, you are shaping a version of yourself who is capable, disciplined, and trustworthy. These small acts build a quiet, unshakable confidence. Choosing discomfort is choosing growth. It is choosing to rise instead of retreat. And with each deliberate challenge, you reinforce your identity as someone who does hard things, someone who honors discipline over impulse, someone who strengthens themselves for the sake of their own future. This is not about punishment. It is about preparation. Life will test you, whether you choose it or not. Voluntary discomfort ensures that when those tests arrive, you are not fragile or afraid, you are ready. Rebuilding the body is truly an act of devotion, not vanity. It is not about chasing a perfect image or achieving a certain number. It is about respecting the vessel that holds your mind and heart. It is about recognizing that strength in one area fuels strength in every other area. As your physical discipline grows, you will feel your mental resilience deepen. As your energy rises, your purpose becomes easier to pursue. As your body becomes strong, your confidence becomes rooted. And gradually, without forcing it, you begin to feel more alive, more present, more capable than you realized. This is why the Stoics place such importance on physical training. A strong body reinforces a strong life. And when you consider rebuilding it, patiently, intentionally, courageously, you create a foundation sturdy enough to support the greatest version of yourself. Rule 3. Fix the heart plus the circle of rebirth. When the mind begins to see clearly and the body regains its strength, there is still one place where many people remain trapped: the heart. Not the physical heart that beats inside your chest, but the inner chamber where your truth, your fears, your hopes, and your meaning live. This is the part of you that feels empty, even when life looks fine on the outside. This is the part that gets buried under years of disappointments, protective walls, unspoken wounds, and emotional numbness. And while people often try to think their way out of this emptiness or push their bodies harder to outrun it, the truth is simple and unavoidable. You cannot fully rebuild yourself until you heal the heart that carries your humanity. Most people don't notice when their heart starts shutting down. It happens slowly. Little by little, you stop allowing yourself to feel deeply, because feeling deeply once led to pain. You stop dreaming because past dreams collapsed. You stop trusting because trust once betrayed you. You convince yourself that being detached is safer than being vulnerable. And so you continue living, but not fully living. You produce, you achieve, you speak, you interact, but you do it all from behind an invisible wall. The world sees you functioning. Only you know something essential has gone quiet. The Stoics understood this silence well. They believed a strong heart was not the absence of pain, but the ability to remain open despite having known pain. To lose the heart is to lose the flame that makes all other work meaningful. The first step toward reclaiming your heart is rediscovering your inner truth. This requires stillness, the kind few people allow themselves anymore. Sit without your phone, without distractions, without noise, and simply listen to what rises inside. At first, you may hear nothing but restlessness. Then, slowly, the questions begin to surface. If you could not fail, how would you live? What is the thing you pretend doesn't matter? Because admitting it would make you feel vulnerable? Who are you when no one is watching and there is no role to perform? These questions are uncomfortable precisely because they reveal the parts of you that have been buried the longest. But the discomfort is a sign of awakening. The heart speaks in trembles before it speaks in clarity. Writing down the answers becomes not just reflection, but revelation. It becomes a bridge back to yourself. Once you rediscover what lives inside you, the next step is letting go of what weighs you down. Every person carries emotional luggage. Anger that hasn't softened, regret that hasn't been forgiven, guilt that hasn't been released, disappointments that have become part of their identity. These emotions are not harmless. They drain your energy, limit your vision, and harden your spirit. But the Stoics taught that it is never what happens to you that destroys you. It is your decision to carry it long after the moment has passed. Letting go is an act of courage. It requires confronting the story you've been replaying and choosing to release it. Not because the past deserves forgiveness, but because you deserve freedom. Write what you're ready to forgive, whether it is someone who hurt you or the version of yourself you've judged too harshly. Forgiveness is not surrender. It is the moment you stop allowing your past to control your present. As the weight lifts, something extraordinary happens. Space opens. Space for possibility, for hope, for connection, for meaning. This is where purpose enters, not as a grand mission you must discover, but as a quiet, steady energy that grows through action. The Stoics called it the interconnectedness of all things. The idea that a meaningful life is not built by serving the self, but by contributing to something larger. The heart comes alive when it gives. You do not need a perfect vision. You only need to notice when you feel most alive. Maybe it's when you help someone without expecting anything in return. Maybe it's when you create something that expresses your soul. Maybe it's when you teach, when you share, when you comfort, when you love. Purpose isn't found in thought. It's revealed through action. Every small act of kindness, every sincere gesture, every moment where you show up fully becomes a compass pointing you back to your true direction. As your purpose grows, your heart begins to open again, not with naive optimism, but with resilient strength. The walls you once built to protect yourself begin to soften, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become brave enough to face it honestly. A strong heart understands that pain is part of being alive. That connection is worth the risk. That meaning is worth the effort. And when your heart comes alive, it fuels your mind with clarity and your body with energy. This is the circle of rebirth. The mind directs the body strengthens the heart, and the heart reignites the mind. Each supports the other in a continuous loop of growth, resilience, and awakening. You are no longer fragmented. You are whole. This transformation, however, is not about perfection. It is about alignment. The world does not need a flawless version of you. It needs a true one, a version of you that thinks with clarity, moves with intention, and feels with authenticity. When your mind, body, and heart begin moving in harmony, you become someone not easily shaken by circumstance. You become someone grounded, present, and unbreakable. You become someone capable of building a life that feels meaningful from the inside out. If this message touches something within you, if it reminds you of the strength you may have forgotten, I invite you to support the Pure Stoic Practice channel by subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing your thoughts. Your participation genuinely helps this community grow and allows us to continue creating content that inspires self-mastery, healing, and inner transformation. Thank you for being here and for walking this path with such sincerity. Rebuilding your heart is the final step, because it is the step that transforms existence into life. When your heart heals, you stop surviving and begin living. You stop drifting and begin choosing. You stop hiding and begin becoming the person you were always meant to be. And once that transformation begins, there is no version of your old life worth returning to.